I was involved in a business that turned out to be what people consider to be a pyramid scheme. Unfortunately, what is classified as that is most multi-level marketing companies. So anybody that said, there's Monavie, there's Zango, there's a ton of different multi-level marketing companies that sell products, and they all have the best of intentions usually to do certain things and to help people create a side living, if you will. And when you make that decision, it means, of course, introducing it to other people. There's companies out there that are good, solid companies, like ACN, for example, endorsed by Donald Trump. And yet in some states it's been outlawed as a pyramid scheme. So it doesn't really make much sense that way. It wasn't until I had an opportunity to sit down with a lawyer in Vancouver to really explain to me the finer details of what made the difference between what a multi-level marketing company does that makes it a pyramid scheme. And that once I had that clarity, I was all for supporting them creating a class action lawsuit. So there was some people that I introduced to the business that said, hey, you know what? They got involved, they understood what it was, it made sense to everybody, and then they said, hey, wait a sec, there's something wrong here. And then we looked into it further. So it was difficult because the people that introduced me to the business were people that I had utmost respect for in the community. They're church-going people, they would never harm a fly. These are some amazing people that I met that I would probably not, or through that process, that I would never have met otherwise. But amazing people. Yet there was people in town here who are lawyers, doctors, dentists that had been involved in this business and done very well with it. And I looked at that with there's some credible people. There's an ex-RCMP officer who said he had done his due diligence. He had been there. He had seen everything. He traveled around the country researching what this was, doing what he would do to investigate anything, and said it was a solid business. So when you have people like that step up and say, hey, this is something worth looking at, I was like, all right, I'm a business guy. I'll look at it. It makes sense. Then, what really made it something that people could delve into is that they didn't just have one product. They started adding other products, and they were a growing company, and people believed in what they were doing. And that was a difficult thing to go through. But I think probably the more important part was when you realize what they're about and what the whole thing boils down to, what you do about it. You can sit back and do nothing, you can take no action, or you can step up and make a difference for it.
Mm-hmm. Was it that alleged pyramid scheme that led to, because I understand that the BC Securities Commission is investigating you now?
No, that's something else. The BC Securities Commission called me and they've asked me about a land investment deal, and that, to be quite honest, the land investment deal would be no different than if you and I were friends and I said, hey, we've got this project, you want to come and invest in it. That's what it was. And then the project went sideways in 2008 and we lost everything on it. We made a couple of last-ditch efforts to try and raise some funds to save the project, and that's what they're concerned about right now. So I have to get the paperwork to them, and Doak Sheriff's Law Office is the one that was involved in helping put all that together. So it'll be cleared up. I'm not concerned about that one.
It can't be ignored.
Yep.
You had an illegal suite.
You bet. The whole process was rather interesting. In 2000, I did a lot in real estate. At one point, I had 120 houses across the country, and I had a property manager embezzle $500,000 from me, and that was a big hit in my life, just to the point I was building my house. And at that time, it started a big spiral. Well, with the crash of 2008 and losing almost everything, I was doing everything I could just to even keep my house. At that point, it was I had some homestays from international students that I rent to, so that they share in our house and they experience Canadian living, and it's a good thing for my boys to interact with them. And at that time, I was doing anything I could to survive and keep the house, and that meant putting in an illegal suite. I really didn't think too much about it at the time. I just sat there and said, okay, I'll put a kitchen in there, and I rented it out. The neighbors weren't so happy about it. I don't know why. Nobody really bothered them at all. They really weren't happy that I built my house the way I did, where I did, but I was doing everything within code, and I built a nice house, and they weren't happy about that. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, they said, well, property values go up, I got to pay more taxes. I mean, they weren't excited about it. when I went through the process, you know, the bylaw officers come to see me and they tell me the process. I go to the city says, well, you don't need to get your, they changed the rules so you don't have to have all your neighbors' permission to apply to get your S zoning. So I went through the process knowing I wasn't going to get their support. There was no way that was going to happen. And so I went through the process. I went and paid the money, did all the DCCs and all the APC hearing, and paid all the fees that I needed to pay to do all this. Spent several $1,000s trying to accommodate what their requirements were with the APC. They were happy with it. They were unanimous in supporting it going forward. And then, of course, because I go to council and they say, well, you didn't consult your neighbors. And the neighbors all stood up in an uproar. You know, at one time I had probably 4 or 5 houses in the neighborhood. I sold them all. I don't have them anymore, but at one point I did. And you know, they were always giving me a hard time because they're rental houses, and they said, well, we don't want rentals here. Well, I can tell you there's probably 20 or so illegal suites in the neighborhood, but you know, I don't bother them about it, that's for sure. Yeah. And most people leave it alone. At the end of the day, I just said, you know what, that's fine. I decommissioned the suite. It wasn't accepted by council. I paid the fines when I went to through the bylaws, and I dealt with it the way I had to deal with it. Mm-hmm. So did I like paying the fines? No, but did I do it because I had to? It was the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. So I decommissioned it, and it's not an issue. Well,
I find it interesting you say, I built an illegal suite. You admit it.
I admit it, absolutely. It was that or go and lose my house and become homeless. You tell me what you do. Yeah. You know,
I wouldn't run for mayor.
Well, you know what? I think, you know, everybody in life makes mistakes. I admit it. I made the mistake. I owned up to it, and I dealt with it. I didn't hide from it. I've never hid that fact, and nor would I ever. It's really simple. I'm not running for mayor to change the way the policies are set in place, but I believe that the city needs effective leadership that can work with the challenges we're going to have going forward. And that sometimes takes creative solutions, and to be able to work with the council and come up with solutions for our city, I think is really important.
Do you think it chips away at your credibility, though?
Well, you know, there might be some people that don't like it. I could say, you know, when I talk to the bylaw officers, I know there's, you know, between 8,000 and 10,000 illegal suites in town, and I'm not the only one. So, you know, I know that people understand what I'm talking about. A lot of people put them in just to keep their houses as well. So I just happen to have to deal with mine.
Yeah, but two wrongs don't make a right. Right?
No, I didn't. It definitely doesn't make a right. That's why I paid my fines and decommissioned it as I was supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have some outstanding court battles ahead of you.
Outstanding court battles.
Yeah. Do you have anything coming up in January dealing with some? Oh
yeah, you know, those go back to the time when everything went sideways in 2008, and there were some outstanding debts. And you know, I don't have an issue with paying what I owe. I've taken it to court specifically because they've asked for more than double what I owe, and I have an issue with paying double what I owe.
Any credit card issues that I might have overlooked here?
No, you found them there. So
yeah,
there was two, and you know, I made settlement offers and paid them out, and you know, I paid TD off. I paid off many people.
Right.
You know, it's just one of those things when you have challenges, you got to figure out how you're going to do them, and you deal with them one at a time.
Mm-hmm. But you touch on fiscal responsibility during the forums.
You bet. It's different when you actually have income that you can deal with for it. You know, I had to liquidate all my property in order to address them, and I did that. You know, as I sell them off, I take care of the issues with them. So, you know, people ask me, well, if you can't manage your own money that way, I suppose managing my own money, I got to tell you, when you go from having a lot of money coming in excess of $100,000 a month and to nothing, you tell me if you have nothing, how do you pay them? Right, so you got to figure out how you deal with them. Mm-hmm. So I was making payments on some of them, and then I negotiated to pay them out. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's just part of the process. It's you know, I'm not the only one going through it.
Why do you think this hasn't come up until now?
Well, you know what? I think people are digging. I think people are concerned about where they're at in the election. I think that I'm gaining some ground, and people decided that they want to start to dig up and mudsling. I mean, I look at the forum last night. People threw that out to Sharon last night, the $500 that she took from the fire department. You know, I mean, I understand that issue because she was caught saying one thing and another happened, right? I through the whole process through the campaign, people have been sliding me information on Sharon and Walter, so you should use this, you should use this. And you know what? I'm not about that. I'm not going to. People may try and mudsling and do exactly what they're doing today. People are obviously concerned about where they are in the campaign, and somebody's digging that information up and trying to support their cause. I don't think it's right, and that's why I don't do it.